Thanks for tuning into How She Built That. I'm Hazel Stark, your host, and today I'm joined by Betty Crush of Mom's Organic Munchies. Let's jump right into it today. So, Betty, can you first introduce yourself and your role in your business?
Sure. Hi, I'm Mums Munchies. I'm Betty from Mums Munchies. Actually, I'm the mum behind everything that you see for Mums Organic Munchies. So I do a little bit of everything.
Awesome, as many female entrepreneurs do, right? They do a little bit of everything. So, can you describe your business and its history? How did you come up with the idea for it? That kind of thing.
Well, I actually didn't come up with the idea came to me out of a necessity. In 2009, I had some medical issues I was going through, and I couldn't eat anything at all during the day. So I decided I was going to just munch on little snacks. I couldn't have anything gluten-free. I had needed gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, low in sugars, but needed something that would taste good, that had some nutrients to it. And at that time on the market, there wasn't really anything. I went into the stores and bought, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 different things that I thought maybe I could eat. And they were just loaded with sugar or fillers, or just they weren't good for my body. So I started making my own. And so that's really how I started. Um, and I just thought, I'll just make some, snacks. I started with bars, and then it went on from there. But I had friends and family that were eating my bars from the freezer. And every time I go to look for something, they were gone. And I'm like, what's going on? So they kept asking me to make them for them. So I didn't. And I thought, well, maybe I have a business. And it went from there.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, that's great feedback right away that your friends and family were trying to take your product before it was even officially a product because it was so good.
Yeah.
Can you describe some of those products that you make? You mentioned bars. What were some of the ingredients or flavors? What were you creating to start?
Well, when I first started, I started with bars. So I started with a nut butter kind of bar that had like almond butter, cashew butter, seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, and goji berries. And let's see, what we're using for nuts. I used some kind of other nut. It was pistachios. And so everything there, and a little bit of sweetener, which was the blue agave, which is low glycemic. So it didn't hurt anything in my body or raise my blood sugar or anything, which could be an issue at the time. So I started with like a jumble of just throwing everything in that I liked and made it into a bar.
Yum. That sounds really good. And then
Yeah.
after bars, what did you start creating through time?
Well, um, so I started with the bars, and I was working a full-time job and like 60, 70 hours a week. And then I was coming home at night in my small little kitchen and making bars. And after that bar, I made a chocolate and almond sea salt bar, which is 99% dark chocolate. And it has cashew butter in it and almonds and sea salt, but very nutritious and healthy for you, low in natural sugars. So it only has like 4 grams of sugar. Um, and so that was my next bar that I started with. But I decided I got tired of making the bars, so I just wanted to make a cookie for me. And I started making a chocolate cookie that I dipped in mint chocolate.
Mm.
And I just made it for me, but everybody loved it. So then I thought, oh, maybe I should make some cookies too. So I started with cookies and little brownies, which I'm not making anymore. They were called Little Dudes, but that's another story. So that's how that got going. Yeah.
Cool. That's amazing. Yeah, that's pretty fun to start with something that was helpful for you and a little passion project that grew into something else. So you started it in your home kitchen. And then you've moved to a larger space. What can you describe the space that you're creating these products in now, and how you made that move from home kitchen to the larger space?
Well, I went from home kitchen to another space for one reason. I had to decide, am I going to stick with my job or am I going to go full force with the business? So that was a decision. Is this just a hobby or, something for myself, or can I help a lot of other people and create something like that? So I was in Whole Foods and I was just getting some ingredients. Mind you, should not buy ingredients, really expensive, but at that time I wasn't buying wholesale. So I had a team member come up to me and ask me what I was making. And I told him, and when I told him, he went and got the forager at the time. And right then and there, he just asked me to bring some samples in. Um, and I did. And that's when I said, I think I might have a business. So they then took me under their wing and brought me into their region and helped with a little bit of a loan. And at that point, I had said, okay, I was in like one or two little stores, little natural food stores in Freeport and Brunswick, and then got into Whole Foods. So I thought, I can't make this out of my kitchen.
Yeah,
So that was my purpose for the move, to grow.
amazing. Discovered
Actually,
at Whole Foods.
yeah, quit my job and said, you know what, the worst thing that can happen is I get another job if this doesn't work, right?
Yeah, that's
And
fantastic.
yeah. So that's where I moved to a small space. It was like 1,500 square feet and just started there. And I didn't have any employees. It was just me. And then I was looking for someone to help me. My son moved back from San Diego and he joined me in helping with the business. And then I hired one employee from a woman from Whole Foods that was working there, came up to me and said, my husband would like to, I think my husband would be great for you. Yeah, he's a professional baker. And I'm like, oh no, I can't afford him. But it just so happened it worked out. So it
Amazing.
started with the three of us. Yeah.
Those in-person connections seem to always make the big difference, right? The who
Yes.
gives you that first big break, and then it kind of goes from there, and that's hard to plan for and rely on that might happen. So what did you have to consider when making that move to the larger space? Of course, there was a clue that it was time to make the move when you were starting to have more demand for what you were creating in more places. You just didn't have the room to do it. But what else did you have to consider when considering that scale up in particular? Because that's scary to move from smaller to larger. What did that look like?
Well, I think for us, we were just really crowded in the space we were at, and we were getting more and more accounts. And the thing that we needed the most was a loading dock. And in our space was more of just a commercial retail front kind of space, which we didn't do retail. So we were building our pallets outside, sometimes at 4 or 5 in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. And our products are refrigerated. So building the pallet outside in the afternoon in the summer and going out and waving down the trucks because they couldn't find us to pick up for, that said, oh, we need to find a place with a loading dock. It was very important
Mm-hmm,
in order for us to grow.
mm-hmm. Okay. So making sure that the physical space had what you needed, as well
Yeah.
as just having more space to create it, more space for load up. Anything else that you considered when scaling up in terms of, I think often people are worried, like, how am I going to pay for this new space? What kind of assurances did you have that it was going to work out? Was it just that you had enough of a big order from Whole Foods, or what were those kind of financial considerations?
We were very lucky that we found a space that was very reasonable, that had another baking company in there, and they had it all set up with the sinks and the wash stations and the bathroom. And really, it was kind of like a turnkey space that we could just move into
Wow.
with our equipment, and then also had the extra space to be able to add more equipment to make it easier to scale up. Also, they had a shipping area that we could use, and we made a couple offices, which is exactly what we needed. And they also had a forklift and use of everything that they had. So we didn't have to invest a lot of money into it. So we were just very lucky.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
incredible. All seem to align at the right moments, which is amazing when that can happen. So, is there anything that you would do differently next time around when scaling up like that, particularly in the space that you're needing to create your product?
I think when you think that you have enough space, you really don't. So next time the scale up, we're actually scaling up again for next year. So always get a little more space than you think you need, because you outgrow it sometimes faster than you think you're going to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like really good advice.
Yeah.
So, speaking of scaling up space, you're also, of course, scaling up just in the amount of products that you're creating. So, how do you maintain high quality products as your business grows? Because, of course, anyone can rely on their mom to create a really good bar or really good cookie in their own home kitchen. But it's hard to make a lot. And then you mentioned you had a few employees to start. And I think people often worry that as a business grows, the quality of what they're creating decreases because it starts getting overwhelming and there's too many moving pieces. So how do you maintain the high quality products that you clearly still have as your business grows?
Well, I think that my son had created a really, really good training program for our employees.
Mhm.
Everything is set in place as to what needs to be done, and everyone is trained exactly the same and monitored that way. But we also have kept our ingredients the same. We use mostly organic ingredients, and we don't compromise at all, no matter what the price is. We stick to what we want to do, and that is providing a healthy product with really nutrient dense ingredients. Um,
Mhm.
so it's not easy to stay like that. Like, it's not easy, and the training comes and goes, people come and go, and you have to go back to training again. But we monitor everything that goes out to make sure that it's perfect, as perfect as we can get it, and that it stays the same.
Mhm. Okay, that's great. That no compromising is what keeps it
No.
going. Yeah. So, what other advice would you have for other entrepreneurs considering scaling up their home-based businesses in particular? Because that's a big leap to go from a little home scale to something bigger. What advice would you have for others in that position?
I guess, and this isn't very technical advice, but I go by my gut almost all the time with decision making, where I try to, and intuition. And just know, if you have a dream and you want to do it, um, what do you have to lose? Go ahead and do it. You can always get another job, or, financially, you can make it work. But doesn't matter your age or whatever you want to do. Like, I started this in my 50s. I didn't plan on starting a food business. I'm going to be 68 tomorrow. You can probably scratch that. But um, so all I have to say is, if you have a passion, go ahead and do it. But just know that it's a lot of hard work, a lot of hours. There's a lot of ups and downs. Um, so you have to make sure that it's worth it for you. It's hard to
Mhm.
balance work and family when you own your own business. So it has to be the right timing
Mm.
and the right thing for you to do.
What makes it worth it for you to keep doing it?
What makes it worth it for me is all the emails I get from my customers that say how much I've helped them and how much they love our product and that they can actually eat something that tastes maybe even better than the conventional products, that they haven't been able to eat for a very long time. Yeah,
Yeah, it helps you know that you're making a difference
we are
in
making
people's
a
lives. Yeah,
difference.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. So where can people go to buy Mom's Organic Munchies?
We're actually sell nationwide. We're in, of course, Whole Foods and all the natural, mostly, not all, but in Maine, a lot of natural food stores like Royal River and Freeport, Bow Street, Whole Foods, Lois's, Morning Glory in Bath, all the little food stores we're in there. We're in Hannaford, just a select few of Hannaford's right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, also you can go online and order too.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. What's the website for you?
It's momsorganicmunchies.com.
Easy to remember. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Betty, is there anything else you'd want to share with folks about your journey or what others might expect if they're in similar shoes?
Just that, there's going to be a lot of things that come up. Like I started this and I didn't know anything about the food business. So what I've learned is like what everybody has said, surround yourself with people that know how to do the things that you don't know how to do. So my specialty is in the kitchen, um, some marketing and sales. My son handles all like operations. So have those key people with your team. That will make the biggest difference of all.
You don't have to do everything because there's people who do the things that you can't.
Right. And you can't do everything and do
Yeah.
them well. So you have to stick with what you know and what you do the best and
Mhm.
hand the rest of it off. And sometimes that's really hard
Yeah.
when you own a business. Like this
Yes.
is my baby and I don't, and at first it was, no, that's not right. No, it has to be perfect. And, you know, you just have to be able to roll with whatever happens.
Great advice. I think that's an important one, being able to let go of something that's so personal to you and represents who you are very individually. But I think that letting go gives you that freedom to just focus on the thing that you're the best at and that you enjoy and not have to spread yourself too thin, which ultimately would compromise the quality of what you're doing if you were having to do everything. So delegation, important.
Delegation, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it all by yourself. And we have a great team, so we couldn't do it without our team.
Mm-hmm.
So be appreciative of your team, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, this has been so interesting, Betty. I can't wait to go buy some of your amazing products. I'm going to keep my eye out for them as I'm traveling around stores in Maine. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are going to benefit from this story of how you've scaled up and started a business at a time when, many people don't expect that they're going to, from your kitchen a little bit later in life, having that opportunity of having people say this is really good and realizing maybe this idea has legs. So awesome to learn from you. Thank you for sharing your story, and I look forward to trying out some of your snacks soon.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoy them.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Bye, everyone.